gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Ah! Ooh, oh, ow, ah, no, ah, ah.
Over the past few years, I've noticed that when a hiking injury is bad enough to become a news story, here in New Mexico, the most common problem isn't lightning or bears, but falling. It's not surprising that falls are common during hikes because they're a major source of injuries and death in general. For the global population, falls are the second leading cause of accidental death after motor vehicle accidents. In the U.S., falls are the third most common source of accidental death after poisoning and motor vehicle accidents. Falls are also responsible for almost 1/3 of non-fatal traumatic accidents in the country. If you're over 65 like I am, falls are the leading cause of fatal injuries and the most common source of hospital admissions due to non-fatal trauma. In other words, falling isn't just something hikers and climbers need to worry about. It's something everyone needs to worry about in every context. But if you're in a wilderness area, once you do fall, it can be hours before medical help finally arrives. There is good news, however. Every fall is preventable. So let's look at the falling hazards hikers face and what we can do about them. If people think about falls at all, they usually think in terms of falls from height. You're taking a photo at the top of a cliff, for example, and you take one step too many. Kevin Fox has a video on YouTube where you can see someone almost go off the edge of the Grand Canyon. So, how far do you need to fall to have a problem? As a very rough rule, once a fall is more than 6 meters or 20 feet, it's going to involve a trip to the emergency room, if you're lucky. At a height of 15 meters or 48 feet, your chance of dying is 50%. At 25 meters or 82 feet, your chance of surviving is 10%. So those folks who fall into the Grand Canyon while taking a selfie, usually they fall hundreds of feet, so you can see why the response involves body recovery mode instead of rescue mode. Like so many things in life and death, the actual outcome depends on the circumstances. If you fall 3 meters and land head first, it may be over right there. If you go off a 30-meter cliff and hit a few tree branches before landing in snow, you may live. But who wants to play odds like those? Every serious hiker has slipped and fallen, and most of the time we get back up and keep going. But same-level falls can injure or even kill. Large packs make it easier to fall because they raise your center of gravity. If you do fall, there's an added risk. If the trail is on a slope, you may roll down the slope for at least a few feet before coming to a rest. When you do stop, let's hope it's not after dropping off a cliff or slamming against a tree. Once you pass 60 or so, same-level falls are a serious source of injury, including spinal cord injury or even death. This isn't just on hikes, but in general. As you get older, you have much more trouble keeping your balance, and you may lack the muscle strength to recover once you begin to tip over. When you hit the ground, you probably also lack the muscle strength you once had to protect your spine. Given how many people hike well into their retirement years, just slipping and falling on the trail is a major worry. Same-level falls are a danger to young people as well, especially when they happen in the middle of nowhere. There's a good example in the June 20-26 issue of the Weekly Taos News. A young, fit, solo hiker slipped and fell. There she was, alone in a wilderness area, out of cell phone range, with a broken ankle. She made it out, but it's easy to see how someone with an injury like that, far from the nearest help, could wind up dead, regardless of age or level of fitness. As the National Safety Council likes to point out, every fall is preventable. For falls from height, the simple and obvious thing to do is stay away from the edge of a cliff. Unless you need to look straight down, the view is just as good from a few feet away. I've been hiking for years, and I can't think of a single time when I actually needed to look straight down. The real reason people get on the edges of cliffs is to show off, and that's a stupid reason to risk your life. Same-level falls aren't as dramatic, but you risk them every time you take a step. That's where hiking poles come in. We humans walk on our hind legs, which we learn to do automatically, but it's always a balancing act. Add uneven or loose surfaces, and it's a recipe for a fall. Add hiking poles, and the recipe changes back in favor of stability. You won't need the poles when the trail is smooth and flat and firm, but if you have a pole or two deployed, you can add the extra stability the moment you need it. If you're young and strong with a young person's sense of balance, you may not feel like you need hiking poles. No skin off my nose, but it doesn't hurt a strong young person to have a hiking pole or two strapped to his or her pack for use in especially difficult situations. If you have them, sooner or later, you'll start using them.